Do you need to nail your next job interview? Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Just Get Hired podcast, the podcast where we empower people just like you to navigate the job market with confidence and success. I'm your host, Jessica Fiesta George, and today we're going to dive into the essential steps to nail your next job interview. Whether you're a seasoned professional or you're just starting out in your career, these tips are going to help you land that dream job. Well, if you're new here, you have stumbled on the podcast that helps career professionals and business leaders navigate the dynamic landscape of work. And with nearly 20 years of experience, I would love to help you with strategies that are going to help you get ahead. If you like topics just like this one, hit that subscribe button. If you like this show, share this out to your friends, add Just Get Hired to your playlist so you don't miss other episodes. And if you're ready, let's get started.
Hi everyone, this is Greg Brooks with Rocket Station.
You're listening to the Just Get Hired podcast.
You're listening to the Just Get Hired podcast. Make sure that you like the podcast and share it with all your friends. I can't wait to hear what you think.
I am here to help break down the 4 different best tips I can give you on how to nail that job interview. We're going to talk about research and prep, updating your resume, preparing for that interview, and then what to do afterwards. The first thing I want to share with you is research and preparation. This is your secret sauce to acing that interview. So if you picture this, you're applying for a marketing gig at a cool tech startup. Where do you go to start your research? Don't worry, because I do have you covered, and I'm going to give you some tips to help you get on the right track. But before I do that, if you're not watching this video and you're just listening to the audio, I'm holding in my hand the world's first productivity shot. This is called Magic Mind. It's a green little bottle that has 12 organic ingredients that helps you with your mood, your productivity, and your focus. So there's a lot of awesome ingredients in here. I've been talking about it on my social media and also on my podcast episodes since the beginning of this year. And I will tell you, it's a game changer for me. You can learn more about it at magicmind.com/hired. And that's going to give you a little bit more insight and maybe a discount. So let's dive in really quick into research and preparation. So the first thing to do is to get on that company website. You got to hit it up. I mean, check out what they're offering. What kind of products? What are they selling? What are they known for? You're going to get the inside scoop on all of the cool stuff that they've been up to lately. And they're going to showcase a lot of different things if you click that About Us section. So that's my little insider tip. Go to the About Us section for all of the juicy details. You can find a little bit more about the mission, the vision, the values, where they have locations, who's on their executive board, any type of news stories or any product information they want to share will be under that section. So get to know that a little bit better. If they have social media, now you want to check their social media presence. Not every company is going to have the whole suite and the whole gamut of social media platforms, but usually they'll have like a LinkedIn page, maybe a Facebook page. Most companies have dabbled into like Twitter or X, but if they're hip enough and they have an Instagram page, take a look at the photos that they're posting. See what type of employees are interacting. Stay in the loop of what's happening in that world. And if you like it, comment, share it out. That's going to show that you're vibing with their brand. The next thing is industry scoop. Anything that gives you the lowdown on what's hot in the marketing world or whatever world that you're applying for, take a look at the trends, the challenges, all of that good stuff. That's going to come in handy when you're chatting with the hiring manager. And then news releases, press releases. Usually they'll have that on the website, but now is the time for you to play detective. So you can hunt down any press releases, any news articles about the company. What have they been up to lately? Any cool wins, cool projects? Maybe there's some bad news in there that they might not want people to see, but if it's out in public and if it's out there on Google, I'm sure you can find it. But those nuggets of information will also be your golden ticket to impressing anyone on the interview panel. And then LinkedIn, Glassdoor. You can snoop all around on LinkedIn and Glassdoor. That's going to be your new besties. So scope out employee reviews, company culture, slide into DMs to chat with current or former employees. If you want insider info, they'll give it to you. The next thing is networking. So speaking of LinkedIn, we use LinkedIn a lot for networking. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, look up episode 3 and episode 12, Your LinkedIn Profile Sucks, on my podcast. I give you some hints and some tips on how to stand out, but networking on LinkedIn is crucial. Now, if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone else at the company, reach out to them, see if they will set up like an informal chat over a video conference or even over coffee. You'll really be surprised at how much people are willing to share with you, and you can learn from just a casual conversation. So that's the first step, research and preparation. It's not your goal to sound smart in the interview, but to show that you have genuine interest and that you fit into the company culture. So soak it all up and see what kind of information you can find and let that shine through in your interview. You got it, right? Now, the second thing I want to talk to you about is updating your resume and your portfolio. So let's just picture this. You're a graphic designer and you're on the hunt for your next opportunity. Now, your portfolio is like your superpower. That's what's going to set you apart from your competition. So how do you make sure that it is up to par? You need to polish it. Take a look at what you have. Now, if you're a creative and you're going for creative roles, I would suggest having an online portfolio. There's a bunch of free resources out there to help you if you don't know how to build a website. You can use Canva. There's like Wix, Squarespace. I am not promoting either one of the other, but there are some good tools out there where you can create your own online portfolio. So if you have projects or designs that could use a refresh, now's the time to do it. Also, take a look at the showcase of your work. That's going to show how you've grown as a designer, for example, and the skill level that you have. Now, if you're not a creative, you don't have to have an online portfolio, but I always love to tell people to have some type of file folder or something that has all of your accolades, whether it was a high five or an email from a colleague or maybe an award that you won for being top salesperson, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have that in your back pocket. Now is the time for you to showcase your best work. Highlight anything that you've had, any killer projects that you've had, any graphics you've created, anything that's going to showcase your diverse range of work and your versatility. The next thing is to customize your resume. Let's talk about the resume. This is like your elevator pitch. It's what's going to get you in the door. So outside of doing your research and doing all of that networking, if you actually get called in or being considered for a job, you want to make sure that your resume is outstanding. Take the time to tailor it for each job application. So that's another insider tip. Look at how the job description is written out. Pull out keywords and phrases. Look at your experience and then try to equate it to how they line it up on that job description. So for example, if you're a graphic designer and you're applying for a design role at a tech company, emphasize your experience with design tools and any projects that you've had. Also, quantify your achievements. I think people miss this, and this is another insider tip. Don't just list out your responsibilities. You want to quantify your achievements wherever you can. Instead of saying, I designed marketing materials, you might want to say you created social media graphics that increased engagement by 30%. Or if you're a recruiter and you had time to fill that was like 60, 90 days, but you shortened it to 30 days, speak to that. If you're a salesperson, you crushed your sales goals and you hit your target 5 months in a row, you want to say that. Numbers speak volumes. Employers love to hear the impact that you had and the amount of work that you had to their bottom line. So your resume, your portfolio, that's your chance to make a good first impression, put your best foot forward. You should be updating this regularly, so don't be afraid to showcase your personality and your experience because that's going to set you apart from all of the other job applicants. All right, so the next step is to prepare for your interview. So congratulations if you get to this part. If you get an interview, that is probably the most nerve-wracking part of the whole process, because you're sitting in either a virtual interview room, or if we're doing a lot more in-person interviews again, you're sweating bullets. You want to make sure you're vibing with the hiring manager, and then they hit you with a question. So you're going to panic, right? But fear not, my friends, because I have some other tips that are going to help you ace your interview like a pro. The first thing is you should brainstorm your best stories. Think about your past experiences, dig up any juicy stories. Maybe it's the time that you saved the day for an epic problem-solving skill and you crushed a tough project. Maybe you hit a deadline or beat the deadline. Whatever it is, make sure it's also relevant to the job that you're applying for. Now, here's another tip: practice. You need to practice, practice, practice. Articulate those stories like a seasoned storyteller. You want to grab a friend, grab a family member, talk to your pet. Look, there are no judgments there. They love to listen to you. If you want to run your answers through someone like me, I'm willing to help you do a mock interview, but there's so many people online that are willing to help you. Just hit somebody up on LinkedIn and ask if they're willing to help you practice. But focus on the actions that you took. Look at the challenges you faced. Look at the outcomes and how you achieved them. You're in the hot seat. So keep your answers clear, concise, and confident. Nobody likes sitting through a 10-minute ramble about your summer internship in high school. So stick to the point, highlight your achievements, and most importantly, own it. Now, a lot of people don't talk about body language. Don't forget, sit up straight, make eye contact, and for the love of things holy, please do not fidget like a squirrel, and don't drink a bunch of caffeine before you go into your interview. You want to stay calm, collected, and shall I dare say, cool as a cucumber. Also be authentic. Just be yourself. Now, I know we are running through all of these tips to help you, and you're trying to run through it in your little brain, but be yourself. I know it's tempting to put your best interview voice and just recite rehearsed answers like a robot. Trust me, authenticity goes a long way. So let your personality shine, crack a joke or two, make sure it's appropriate. And remember, you're not just selling your skills, you are selling you. So a little prep, a little practice, a little sprinkle of confidence, and you'll be ready to tackle any interview that comes your way. Okay, so we've tackled the interview hot seat. Now it's time for the final lap. What do you do afterwards? You have to follow up. The next thing is to send a killer thank you note. A lot of people don't do this anymore. It's a lost art. Whip out a trusty keyboard, craft up a thank you email. If you have time, drop a note at the reception office thanking them about your interview. That's going to knock their socks off. I'm telling you, a lot of people don't do this anymore. But express your gratitude for the opportunity. And then here's another secret sauce. Throw in a little something that shows that you were paying attention. So that could be a fun fact, maybe a specific project that they mentioned, any type of challenges that they're facing. Make it personal, make it genuine, but I'm telling you, those are brownie points. The next thing is to embrace feedback. If you're lucky enough to receive constructive criticism, don't run for the hills, embrace it. If they're even willing to give you any feedback. Now, not everyone's going to get that, so embrace it if they give it to you. Now, it could be suggestions about improving your presentation skills, maybe a nudge to dial back on the caffeine-induced rambling that you did. Take it in stride. Reflect on your performance, celebrate the wins. Use that feedback, though, so you can level up your game for any future interviews. And then stay organized, because if you are applying for a ton of jobs, it's easy to get off track on who you've been talking to, who you're applying for. So go old school, create an Excel spreadsheet, jot down the details, who you talked to, what you remember, what went well, what could have gone better. That's going to help you kind of journal what you've learned, what you are talking about, and then you can celebrate your wins, learn from your losses, but trust me, you'll get it. And then from there, you want to adjust your approach. So don't be afraid to tweak your approach based on what you've learned. Maybe you need to refine your elevator pitch. Maybe you need to brush up on your technical skills. Whatever kind of feedback that they're giving you, you need to be flexible. You need to be adaptable. And just remember, every interview is your chance to grow and to improve. All right, so there you have it. You can follow up like a pro, evaluate like a pro, watch those job offers start rolling in, and then just go forth and conquer that career ladder one interview at a time. All right, so there you have it. I think I've covered pretty much everything that I feel like you need to do to ace your next job interview. And that's another episode of the Just Get Hired podcast in the books. So we've covered prepping like a pro, nailing that post-interview follow-up. And if you are gearing up for your first job, or maybe you're aiming for that next promotion, I want to hear from you because I want to hear if these tips help you. And if there's other tips that we should share out to everyone else, let's include them in a future episode. So hit me up. Let me know if these tips helped you and how your interviews are going. Preparation is key. Confidence is key. Above all, never stop learning and growing. All right. Well, that's another episode. Tune in next Wednesday where I have another awesome episode of the Just Get Hired podcast. Happy job hunting. Stay tuned for more. My name's Jessica Fiesta George, your host of the Just Get Hired podcast. What do y'all want to talk about next? I'll catch you on my next episode.